season has passed, and we had another great year. I first of all want to thank everybody for being a part of that. We had a successful year. It was a hard year this year, weather-wise, but we made it through it, so we're ready and excited to start another one next year, and I hope it turns out just a little bit better with the weather. But thank you guys. I really appreciate every one of you for coming and choosing our greenhouse. I think I might start a new series here today, just a little story time. Mainly it's going to be about our local area, Rankins Creek and Getaway area, about some of the people and things that have happened in that small area over the years. So we might might make a series out of it. We'll see how that goes. I'm hauling a load of hay today out of Paris, Kentucky. Beautiful country. If any of you ever have a chance to visit the Paris area, it's beautiful. The downtown is old, beautiful town, and you need to check out the Blue Lick State Park. It's a lot of history there with Daniel Boone, Simon Kenton, some of the old frontiersmen that founded a lot of Kentucky. All right, now I thought since we'll start this story time out talking about sweet potatoes, because if you have sweet potatoes in your garden, right now is the time that you need to be getting those dug. It looks like we're going to have a couple nights of possible frost this week, so get those sweet potatoes dug if you've got them, if you haven't already done that. So that's going to be the story for today, is the great sweet potato. My grandma, Edra Pratt, came up in hard times. She came up through the Great Depression and had to live hard, had to survive off of the land pretty much. And she took a lot of pride in the garden that she raised. And every year she would just raise a spectacular garden because she had 60 or 70 years of practice. And that's a lot of years to get something right, and she did. But one year she just had a spectacular crop of sweet potatoes. And anybody that come around, she would want to show them how big and how nice her sweet potatoes were this year. Well, there was this one old fella came along, and I'm not going to name him, and if you probably know him if you're from this area, but I really haven't gotten his permission to name him in this video, so we won't do that. It really doesn't matter, but he come along, and she went in the house and brought out just a gigantic sweet potato. Oh, it was beautiful. Didn't have a blemish on it. It was perfect sweet potato. And she said, I want you to look here what I raised this year. Well, this old guy, he also was a good gardener, and he took a lot of pride in his as well, and she knew it. That's the reason she wanted to show hers off. And he looked at that sweet potato and he said, well, that's all right, he said, but I've got a sweet potato that's a lot bigger than that. And my grandma was pretty hardcore. She was serious. I mean, and she took that serious. That made her about half mad. She said, oh, you do not. That's a lie. You haven't got no sweet potato bigger than that. That's the biggest sweet potato that I have ever grown. Oh yeah, he said, I've got one bigger than that. I've got a sweet potato that put that one to shame. Well, Ma, that's what we called her, she said, well, I just can't hardly believe it. He said, well, the only problem with that sweet potato that I raised, he said, it had a hole in the side of it. Well, Ma thought she had him. She said, well, it was rotten then. It wasn't in count. Said if it had a hole in it, that sweet potato was rotten. He said, no, he said, it wasn't rotten. He said, it was fine. He said, it just had a groundhog and 4 little ones in it. So I guess, if I know my grandma, she probably never did crack a smile over that. But anyway, that was the story of the great sweet potato. Big enough to have a groundhog with 4 little groundhogs in it. So I'll share that with you today, and maybe we'll come up with another one in the next week or so. We'll see what we can do. Throw out a few stories for you here about our area. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch up with you on the next video.